What's up, YouTube? I'm Mike, and today I got the bright idea to leave the house to go try to visit some clients, and of course they're doing construction on the bridge, so I'm in 20 minutes of traffic. So I thought I would shoot a quick update video because I haven't been making YouTube videos very much. I've been playing around TikTok lately. For those of you who are always wanting to see gym footage, me lifting in the gym, there's now some gym footage on TikTok, so there's another reason to go follow me on TikTok. I don't know why I suddenly started doing TikTok. I got bored with this, I guess. I don't know, it's a lot easier to just shoot smaller little pieces and stick them all together and upload them to TikTok than try to make these complete rant videos. But I wanted to give you guys an update on my current cycle because it continues to go better than I could have imagined. But I've had some up and downs that I felt like it would be worth to report. So I'm still on no testosterone at all, zero testosterone. I think I mentioned in the last video that one of my major concerns with this cycle was whether or not my D game was going to return to complete functionality in the absence of any real, aromatizable compound, any real testosterone, bioidentical testosterone, for various reasons, just because it seems rather unorthodox to run no testosterone and then you lack 5-alpha reduction into DHT and all kinds of things. I'm very happy to report that there seems to be absolutely zero evidence from my own personal experience that you need any physiological testosterone in your system at all. I'm currently running 300 milligrams of Deca per week. I am back up to 210 milligrams of Trenbolone Ace per week. That is 30 milligrams of Tren Ace per day, taken currently in two 15 milligram doses. So I take 15 milligrams in the morning and 15 milligrams in the afternoon for 30 milligrams per day, 210 milligrams of Tren Ace per week. I am taking 600 milligrams of Masteron E per week, and I'm taking 500 IUs of HCG 3 times per week. I am taking 0 Arimidex, and I am currently injecting about 0.18, give or take. I'm eyeballing it in between the lines. About 1.8 milligrams of estradiol valerate per week. This has got me dialed into the absolute sweet spot. Every single one of the field type of metrics, D game, mood, libido, everything is dialed in perfectly. This is the most stable I have felt physically in a very, very long time. This is the most stable I felt probably since I started experimenting with steroids when I was on TRT only. Obviously, that was a very stable way of going about things. And once you start experimenting with various other compounds, things just become a roller coaster ride. And so far this no testosterone with estrogen cycle is going better than I could have ever imagined. I do want to confess that I lied to my wife and I lied to you guys when I decided to increase the Trenbolone Ace, because I'm kind of going back into another growing phase, I guess. Not really a full-on bulk. I don't want to lose my abs that I cut down to get. So I'm, once again in life, I'm attempting the unicorn cycle of trying to gain a little bit of muscle without gaining too much fat. So before I went up on my Tren dose, psychologically, everything in my marriage and my life was dialed in and on point. I had tried 140 milligrams of Tren Ace in the past and had to get off of it because honestly I couldn't handle it. Why I thought I could handle 210 milligrams, I will never know. But that's what I did. I jumped from, I was at like 98 milligrams of Tren Ace per week, and then I jumped it up to 140. And within a few days, I jumped it up to 210, meaning that I increased my daily doses up to the point that the weekly dose would work out to that amount. During the first 3 to 4 days at 30 milligrams a day of Tren Ace, I was absolutely feeling on fire. I think I reported in my last video that I would be so freaking amped up after my second shot that I would usually do my second shot around anywhere between 4 and 6 in the evening, depending on what time I get out of bed in the morning. And we've been playing Pinochle. My wife and son and I have been playing Pinochle after dinner. I said this in the previous video. And I would be so jacked up, dude, that my hands would just be shaking. I look like I look like somebody on clenbuterol is what I look like. Just ripped. So much energy, so much intensity. And it really got over the course of the next few days to be a lot more than I really felt comfortable handling. I started taking my Xanax earlier in the evening. I definitely now think that the side effects that I had been experiencing at that level of trend were just pure anxiety, because every single night when I would take the Xanax, everything that I would calm way down, I would feel way better. I was struggling so much. My wife and I ended up having some horrific fights over the course of the last week. I think it's been a little bit longer than a week now. I can't remember how long it's been since I made a video. I guess I'll go ahead and throw this out there right now. This is probably going to get shot full of holes, but I'm just curious if anybody else has had this experience. I was actually going to make an entire video about it, but I'm not really. It's just a thought, and I'm not really like ready to take it to the bank. So I may wait until I do some more research. But I'm developing a theory on why Trenbolone is the relationship killer. I have noticed that it seemed like to me, every time I would come up on a substantial amount of Trenbolone, especially since I've been taking Tren Ace, it's almost like my wife becomes more aggressive and more kind of agitated and more willing to like stick to it in a fight and not back down. She's irritable with the kids, she's irritable with me, and I'm like, why would this doesn't make any sense. I've always kind of felt like maybe it was just my attitude, like the intention. And she'll tell you like the intensity coming off me on Trenbolone cycle is palpable. Like I could put everybody in the entire house on edge because I'm just like vibrating at a different level. Well, how can I say this on YouTube? I have read that that Trenbolone, like a lot of steroid molecules are eliminated in the urine. And I had read somewhere on a Reddit something about a guy trying to dose his girl, by relieving himself inside of her. And so I've been threatening to do that to Sarah as kind of a joke. And then the more I got to thinking about it, the more I started going, wait a minute. If steroid hormones can be in that fluid, could they be in other fluids? Like, for example, could steroid hormones be carried in seminal fluid? Because one of the interesting things is that every time I come up on Tren, my wife and I start having a lot of sex, and she seems to be more agitated on days following a sex act than days when we take a break. And so I just started wondering. I thought, surely not. This is crazy. Somebody would have figured this out by now. Is it possible that bodybuilder dudes have been dosing their girls with small amounts of androgens every time they engage in intercourse, because the seminal fluid could possibly be carrying the androgen? And maybe that's the reason that Trenbolone has this bad reputation as being a relationship killer. If your girl's coming up on even the smallest amount of ACE while you're coming up on it, that could definitely make for a recipe for disaster. So I thought, surely I'm wrong. There's gonna be no evidence of this, right? So I started doing some research to find out if anybody had ever looked into this. Sure enough, guess what I come up with? In 2022, I believe it was, I think there's been two studies, 2018 and 2022. Both of these studies were driven by the fact that a few different female Olympic athletes had tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs that they swore they were not taking. And it's like, yeah, right, sure, you got busted. You're gonna blame it on something else. I think two of the cases, like one of them was Proviron, I think. One of them was a pro hormone or something, like a SARM, and I forget what the third one was. In all of these cases, the girls claimed that they were not ingesting any banned substances, but that they were sleeping with a male who was. And so they tried to do some research to determine whether or not a testable amount of androgen could be passed from male to female during intercourse that would cause these girls to test positive. And I can't remember all of the exact data. They did find steroid hormones in the seminal fluid. Apparently these are always in there because some steroid hormones are made in sexual tissues, obviously. They were really keying on 7-hydroxy something or other, which I think is an enzymatic process that has something to do with steroid molecules. But it basically, if I remember the study correctly, the net result was, we have not proven this conclusively, but we cannot rule it out because we know for a fact that there are steroid hormones that pass through the seminal fluid, and there seems to be a connection to not only the seminal fluid, but the fact that in most seminal fluid, in most ejaculations, some amount of the male's urine is present, and that the more urine that could be present in, mixed in with the seminal fluid could be a determining factor in whether or not he is actually passing a bioavailable amount of androgen to his girl. So I started wondering, is it possible that my girl is being affected by my tren cycles, and that's why it always seems like it's not just me? I know what people are going to be saying. Oh, look, this guy's going to all links to try to excuse away his behavior. My wife is actually on board with this theory right now. She has been reporting to me that she does not feel the same, that she feels substantially more agitated, aggressive, and irritable in general since I started the Tren A cycle. She's been firing on people on TikTok, firing on people on Facebook, stirring the pot every chance she gets. So I don't know. Clearly more research needs to be done, but I would love to hear from anybody in the audience possibly who, have you had a similar experience? Have you had an experience where you started taking some type of, especially if it's a fast-acting steroid? Because I don't believe that Tren E would have the same effect. The Tren Ace is so potent and so acute in its come up that I think that a girl getting a small dose of that on a daily or bi-daily basis, like we're having sex once or twice a day, if she keeps getting a jolt of a little bit of Tren Ace, she's going to feel that come up much more acutely than getting a very small amount of E. Even if it was having some effects on her personality, would not be as acute as that which she would get from Tren Ace. So just throwing that out there to see if anybody else has talked about this, covered it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't spend a whole lot of time watching the YouTube videos. Maybe one of you guys, maybe Vigorous or one of the other name, Get More Plates, maybe somebody's talked about this. Is this possible that I could in fact be dosing my girl through intercourse? That would be something interesting to find out. It's also something kind of scary because, like, Sebum just had a baby. He's loaded on the Tren, and women are not supposed to be exposed to androgens during their pregnancy. So if in fact this is occurring, and a guy on a substantial amount of androgen load could be passing some of this, undiluted to his girl, that could be game changing. That could be some serious scientific data that could be uncovered, because it could definitely have negative effects on a fetus. Something I think people really need to look into and be aware of. Hopefully more data will come out on this. I don't really know of any way to test it myself. If I could test it, I would. But yeah, so everything is going great. I was having so much acute energy on the Tren Ace that I was borderline thinking about quitting. And this is the insane way that my brain works. Rather than saying to myself, oh my God, you're completely out of your mind on Tren, it's too strong, it's causing relationship problems. I had promised, like in a couple of videos ago, when I said that I was first started, I was going to come back up on the Tren. I made the statement that everything in my relationship was going good, that I was happy with the way my body looked, that I didn't feel like I needed to continuously get any bigger, and that if I started the Tren again and started having problems, that I was going to pull the plug on it. I wasn't going to sit here and damage my relationship trying to squeak out another couple of pound gains that I may or may not get at this stage of the game. And of course, I get back on the Tren Ace. The God complex comes back in full force. My wife and I start fighting again. And immediately, rather than pull the plug on it, which is what I should do, I just double and triple. Sorry, I'm trying to drive and record this at the same time. And there's a road closure sign here, and it looks like someplace. That's pretty risky. I'm not gonna go over there in my fucking lowrider car. Sorry about that angle. So anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I had committed to not continuing to do this if it was causing problems, and I want to be fully honest and open and transparent. It has caused a gigantic amount of problems. It's still causing me a significant amount of problems, so much so that you may have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, I basically went into the depths of the abyss again recently. I have been in the gym in some kind of dark depression since getting back on a higher dose of Tren. I've been listening to nothing but like Linkin Park and Nirvana, and watching Heath Ledger's Joker, and I was quoting all these different people who've committed. I was just like in some suicidal misery again, which actually, interestingly, kind of brings us full circle. So one of the things that I've been battling with ever since I got on the no testosterone cycle, no amount of testosterone, and my estrogen is totally controlled with estradiol injections, I've been battling gyno the whole time, which was one of the things I was obviously trying to prevent. I was trying to prevent gyno. Here I am with my E2 dialed into the sweet spot, and so why do I have gyno? Well, when the depression kicked in from the higher Trenbolone dose and I still had gyno, I said enough is enough. I started back on the Caber. I have been back on Caber for 2 weeks now. I started out at a 1/4 milligram every like 5 or 6 days. I started feeling better. Then I jumped it up. I took a 1/4 milligram, and then 3 days later I took another 1/4 milligram. I'm probably going to be taking 1/2 milligram a week at a minimum for right now. And my big concern, the reason I wasn't taking the Caber, is because when I had all of those nightmares with my cycle with mint, and I found out that my prolactin was crashed, that was one of the things that got the blame for my broken D game, despite the fact that it was clearly connected to my very high estrogen level. So since I know that on paper my prolactin is low, I have been scared to screw with my D game by adding in more, by lowering my prolactin even further with Cabergoline. I'm very happy to report that this week, after having dosed 1/2 milligram of Cabergoline, my D game is now better than it was before. Rigidity, staying power, everything. Like, the Caber in me is just the answer. It is causing no broke D game symptoms. It is relieving the depression. It is relieving the gyno. My gyno is almost completely gone after 2.5 weeks on low dose Cabergoline. So I've got E2, injectable E2, that even in the sweet spot had me with gyno. Prolactin, even on the low end, but even crashed, even below normal, had me with gyno. The re-administration of Cabergoline is removing the gyno and removing the depression. As far as I'm concerned, the case is closed. I do not know why it works, but it has worked for over 2 years for me. Every single time I have tried to run 19 NOR compounds without Cabergoline in the mix, my D breaks and my psychology, and I just become suicidal. I become absolutely miserable and suicidal. And I don't care what the paperwork says anymore. I don't care about the whys, the wherefores, the hows. What I know is that it works. It is a game changer. It is a lifesaver. It is a marriage saver. And I am going back to the tried and true method of 19 NORs run alongside Cabergoline. It works. I don't know how or why, but it does. So there you have it. There's the update. I got to get to work. I'm actually sitting out in front of a customer right now. Let me go see some people. Follow me on TikTok at Trinity1. You'll see some bodybuilding content there, some more crazy content there, and I'll try to keep up with this YouTube channel. I'm still looking for somebody to create a Discord that I can be a part of. I do not want to run my own Discord anymore. For some reason, people keep joining the Discord. People are still active in there, but there's only like 5 or 6 people. And I don't want to let it die, but if I have to let it die, I will, because I don't want to be responsible for maintaining it. I just can't do it. Somebody hit me in the comments or DM me on Discord if you want to create a Discord for this YouTube channel and for bodybuilders everywhere, and talk about sources and talk about cycles and talk about all the fun stuff. So there you have it. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Instagram. Michael Van Dusen on Instagram, and we'll see you later.